Now let's move on to the run cycle. It's quite similar to the walk cycles, but the main difference is in run cycles there's a moment where both feet are off the ground. So let's start. I think I started with the crossing phase, so I'll do that here too. Oh yeah, and run cycles have more angled legs. This is still more straightened than this one, but mostly you are kneeling down. I already told in my last tutorial, the diagonal is lower in the run cycle and more upright in the walk cycle. Let me copy this head. So this is the crossing phase. Arms are crossing here as well. The arms both more angled. Let me move on. Let me push this here. Because run cycles are really fast, so I need to have a lot of space. Just pushing forward, the head goes higher than before. Let me turn on onion skin so you see it. And then there's a moment where both legs are in the air. Arms are wide open. This elbow kinda moves like this. So that's one thing you can keep an eye on. You can also straighten the arm, same as in the walk cycle. Then, oh yeah, in the run cycle you can have multiple frames where the heels are pointing like at the lowest part. You push everything a bit more forwards. And that's already it. We're back on the ground. And the foot is flat again. We are going back to the crossing phase. Now this hand points up and then points back down. And this is another crossing phase game. Has like a similar to a 4, to the number 4 shape. You can do it like this, where the knees, the complete foot is in front of the leg, or you can also do it like this, by half of the foot. But usually if I have this frame, I mostly do this after, because this is almost the same as this. I want it to look faster, that's why the whole foot is already faster. If I had it like this before, then you could go for this, where half the leg is crossed, but since I have this instead, the next frame would be this. Head is at the lowest part here, and here it goes up again. Want to have more frames where the character is above the ground, like more frames in the air than on the ground. For example, if I added another frame here, let me just show you what it looks like if I do that. I remove it after. We put everything on 2s. Do you see that? It looks so slow. That's because there's too many frames with the character on the ground. And if I only remove this frame here, it still looks slow. Well, it looks much better. What you can do is put it in single frame whenever he's in the air. No, wait. Whenever he's on the ground, never mind. Because you want to have more time in the air. You see that? It looks like he's landing and rapidly jumping off the ground again. And then you can also space the frames in the air. Remember my spacing and timing guide? Just add more space between them. So the knees also move like this, except for the frame where the other leg goes past, like where you push forward. In that frame, I like to have the knee completely stretched for the leap. See, right here and right here. But in every other instance, except maybe here, you could also stretch these falling much more, but this also works. That's how to do Runcycles. Since I have the knee almost crossing, I have it past the leg here. Make this a single frame too. Can put most things on single frame actually to make it look fast as possible. But if you want it more visible, adjust it to your liking. So what I didn't show last time is how you actually loop this. And the main way to loop it is whenever he's landing, you push those frames back where the foot is on the ground, like this. And as soon as he jumps off, the head goes forward again. And then when he's landing, you go back like this. And then he jumps off again, then you would go forward again. If you want to loop it perfectly, you take the very first frame of the animation and put it at the end, so you know exactly how much you have to go back. Copy and paste. See this? That's how you could loop it. That's how I did it with this Runcycle. It's just 5 different drawings. Runcycle. Crossing part. Pushing forward. In the air. Both legs in the air. And falling. And then back to the crossing part. As you see, I have this on trees. Everything else on twos. A common mistake is a lot of people make a bad pose for the crossing part where the character kind of looks like it's sitting like this. This is a common mistake I see a lot of people do. This wouldn't work out in a real Runcycle because your whole pose kinda can't go into this pushing forward anymore. Instead, you would fall down normally. Because if this leg tries to move forward, your whole character will drop behind normally. Like if you go from this to that, that doesn't make sense. But if you go from this, for example, your leg would push forward and your whole character would move along the leg in this way and not, you know what I mean? Okay, sorry Nazar, you're the OG type shit, but this pose, this pose is absolutely criminal. You can't use this in a Runcycle. Like, okay, try standing like this, okay? Like you, I'm looking at you. Stand up, stand up. Try standing like this. Imitate this pose. The only way, if you fall down, right? The only way you fall down is you fall down forward. If you try to stand like this, you will just fall to your back. You will. Your head is not even in front of the knee because your ass is literally sitting down without a chair. If you look at the Naruto run, right? Naruto run. Your head is always in front of the knee. See this? Wait, where's the crossing pose? See this? You're not sitting down. I think you get the point. So this might work. Well, it still might look good because it's only one frame that's wrong. But you can get away with it. What if you're trying to improve? this is something you should look out for. I think it's kind of hidden in stick figure animation, but well, that's all I want to say about this. Here are the most important things I talked about. All the important phases, the crossing phase in both walking and running cycle, and then pushing forward. And as you can see, it's almost the same diagonal. And I also made sure the head goes up and down. And we have here we already have the stepping, the next step, like the foot goes down. And in Runcycle, there's another extra frame for both feet in the air. It's one step more only. And if you look at the leg, it's exactly the same. I even just copied it, but you don't have to do that. You can adjust it, of course. You can also try putting all of these frames together, so to see how it plays in an animation. If you paste the frames, they actually get pasted into the middle, which is kinda useful. So let's see how this loops. I put everything on trees. See, it's kinda, the head kinda shifts. But that's not a hard thing to fix. Just make sure the neck stays on a consistent place. Let's play again. Much better. Oh, probably have to make this a guide layer. Yeah, I kind of expected it to not look that consistent, but if you look at the legs and the arms, everything I said kind of applies, so yeah, he gets smaller here. I probably have to make him bigger, place him higher as well. That's all. Can make it look less robotic. Having the arms a bit loose. Make this a bit more close. I think it's good enough. For the fact that I just pasted those frames or those drawings. Like, both cycles look pretty clean for that. I didn't even have it animated, I just drew it next to each other without really using onion skins or anything like that. So that proves these are the steps you should include in your walk and run cycles. And you don't have to go by this exact order. I actually want to show you some use cases. Like, let me open recent animations. This one, for example. There's a lot of enemies entering the screen. Okay, this guy just jumps in. Let's see the next one. He starts with the crossing phase. And then next guy starts with the pushing forward. And this guy starts with landing. So what I want to say is I recommend you to practice starting the walking and run cycles from any step, from any phase. This is my joint with Crasit. Anyways, Well, for those of you that made it this far into the video, here's another bonus advice. You should also learn to practice converting your walking and run cycles into attacks. For example, this guy is attacking from the pushing forward phase. So the arms are already prepared the frame before that. And this is pretty useful. Like, I'm not just making these tutorials like anyone else just for you to know the basics, but you should also be able to apply. That's my goal. You should also be able to apply that into choreography. For example, here he is also attacking while running. These attacks are goofy, I know, but just so you see, you can actually stop or pause a frame and analyze at what point of the walking step the attacker is and try it out yourself and look what works best for you. This is from my video right before the joint with Transit. Here you can see I actually have use of walk cycles. Like, I loop them for symbols and made tweens of the symbols moving forward at different speeds for the background characters. And then this obviously not a symbol, but here you have an example of a walk cycle that stops walking. It transitions into a standing pose, and then the front leg continues the walk cycle while the character is throwing away t-shirt. Well, now I said everything I was gonna talk about. Let me know if you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions about my animations I did in the past. This is my 8th year of animation now. Maybe even like 4 years ago there might be things in my animations that you would like to know how I did them. I could also go over them, or even other people's Flash animations, Stickman animations, if they're done in Flash. I could like try to replicate them, but not necessarily in a video. But if you DM me on Discord, you know, my Discord is in the description, I could tell you how it's done whenever I have time for it. And other than that, thanks for watching. See you next time.